What's up, y'all? Welcome back to B&M Later Reactions. Today we are looking at ranking the Akatsuki featuring Swagkage. It's by the Masked Man. This is part 2. We already watched part 1. They went over the first. It's 10 characters in total. They went over the first 8. So now we're down to the final top 2 people left in the ranking. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
This is my boy right here.
Yes, sir.
Let's get into Obito. This is the man, and like
so, Obito is number 2.
Is one of, if not the most #1 most misanalyzed, misunderstood characters.
Wait, if Obito is number 2, then Nagato is number 1. Pain is number 1 as best written character. No. Because to me, Itachi is the second best written Akatsuki. My number 1 would probably be Obito, even though they kind of fumbled the bag with Obito in the end of the war arc, making them good. I don't like making villains good, but besides the making them good part in the war arc, Obito is really well written. He would be my number 1. If I exclude the making him good part. But Pain is their number 1? That's interesting. He would not be my number 1.
Oh, man, and like you said, he is one of, if not the most #1 most misanalyzed, misunderstood characters in shonen, maybe even in fiction, period. People seem to like, I don't get how people like hear him talk and hear him say the things he says and come away thinking the things that they do about him, but like okay, let's go ahead and get it out of the way for like the
2021, bro. Oh, the
2022 now.
He did not start the 4th war over Rin.
Yes, he did, bro.
This to Kakashi. Like, as a matter of fact, Kakashi brings.
That's all he was thinking about. Oh, Rin, you killed Rin. You let Rin die, bro. He was whipped over Rin, bro, and they wasn't even going out or nothing.
Rin. He says this to Kakashi. Like, as a matter of fact, Kakashi brings up Rin multiple times while they're talking, and Obito's like, "You're still on that?"
Right. He's like, bro, I've been past the fact that it stated in the manga and in the he states it himself, and it's 2021, and people legitimately still think this when you've had 4 years now, I think, to analyze.
Because that was all he talking about.
Chomping, crayon eating, like, bro, it hurts. It hurts. And
imagine pouring in your milk before your Crayola crayons in your cereal bowl. I can't believe
Captain Crayola, just Crayola flakes. Oh man.
Nah, he stayed crying over Rin, bro. Stop playing.
Was a case. It's almost as if people forgot everything Obito was before that. When he was Toby, when he was pretending to be Madara, this man was name dropped from near the beginning of Naruto, and he's one of the ties to Kakashi's mystery as a character, but also he's the perfect parallel to Naruto as the protagonist. Like, Obito has so much narrative weight to the story, and I think thematically he's beautiful in terms of falling into despair.
What the heck is this? Is this Spanish on the screen? El Verdadero Pada de Sharingan. What the heck? I've never seen Spanish subtitles or captions for anime. Can y'all read this? Hold on, let me change the screen.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
Yeah, you should be able to see it a little bit better now. Like, look at this. It say El Verdadero, El Verdadero, Pada del Sharingan. Mi padre, el padre de Madara Uchiha. What the heck? This got to be like Spanish or Portuguese or something, right? I have never seen that before in my life.
He has some of the most unique movesets in the entire series. I mean, just one moveset with Kamui.
Oh, yeah, man.
The fight against Kakashi is
cool.
That's my #1 fight in the entire series, Kakashi versus Obito.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
It's a good fight, but let me change the scene back.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
And it's like there's so much great things about Obito. Are you really, even if it was the case, which we just debunked, would you really throw all that out just because he was like, hey, yeah, Rin? Like, what the? I just.
Wait, what's with the inconsistency, right? Because everybody likes Orochimaru, and he is like a confirmed How to Catch a Predator feature, right? Like
Sasuke,
that guy
how you doing?
Yeah, right. Like he straight up has some like weird pedophile vibes going on, and those are very intentional. And then, like, all the Obito stuff, people are like, well, he seems to me, in my opinion, like he might be a pedophile, even though he says he's like, and even, like, it doesn't even, it's not even like it's so stupid because, like, even if he was still attached to Rin, like, I feel like it would be, you kind of have to do mental gymnastics to not assume that that's, like, platonic at this point, right? Like,
right.
Like what Rin represents to Obito isn't like, oh, I want you to be my girlfriend. It's like she was the only person who, in every situation, was, you know, nice, was like didn't crack and become cynical. You know,
right.
Like even Kakashi, who like right before he quote unquote died was probably like his best friend. You know, Kakashi was an asshole for a really long time, but Rin,
yeah, that's true.
Like, you know, she was like pure goodness. And he really did like want something with her, but I don't think he ever like held it against her, and I don't think he was like bitter that they didn't get together. Like I think he was just sad, but like he just saw her as like an example of, you know, okay, this is the sort this is like an example of, you know, good in the world, which he didn't see a lot of. And
I could see that.
Kakashi kill her.
I could see that.
Like, I feel like his mind just snapped, and he couldn't comprehend it.
Right.
And you the other thing like people got to keep in mind too is it's not like his life was like good before that happened. It's not like that's the only bad thing that happened. Yeah, he was a child soldier orphan, and like everybody probably like I'm sure there are a lot of people who will be able to relate to this. Like maybe if, you know, you have like a really distinguished or accomplished like older sibling, or if one of your parents is, you know, like did anything that was like super really cool. But like Obito was an Uchiha, and so the standard that he probably had to live up to was like way higher than he ever asked for, guaranteed. And so like for him to be like a klutz and an idiot and just, you know, never be able to live up to what people expected from him, I mean, that must have been like really rough for him. Right, and again, I get like people bullying you isn't a reason to turn into a nihilist, but it can probably
it's
help,
not,
especially when you throw in like, again, being a child soldier and stuff. Like when you grow up being really insecure, feeling really dejected, it makes it a lot easier to start being a pessimist, right? And so, like, for all this other stuff to happen to him, it makes sense for him to stand. I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's not like what he wanted was selfish either, right? Like, he wasn't just coping with the fact that Rin died. He really wanted to change the world. And now, granted, I'm not trying to say that he was like a noble, heroic fella throughout the whole series. He did some evil things, but this came as a result of the character is the only example in Naruto of like a full-blown nihilist, right? Like he just straight up said, he's like, look, I can do whatever I want in this world because nothing matters. It just sucks.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do whatever it takes. I don't care how evil I gotta be to make sure my utopia comes to fruition. And at the end of the day, everybody's gonna be in paradise and it'll all be fine, right? Like, I don't know, like he's just super layered and complex, and he's a great foil to Naruto, probably better than anybody else because he was Naruto growing up.
Exactly.
And unlike Naruto, he did it. He wasn't consistent. He couldn't do it. He cracked.
He lost hope.
He fell apart. Yeah, exactly. He fell apart. And like especially with all the crazy stuff that happened in 2020, I'm sure a lot of people probably maybe hit like an emotional low point. So you can probably see why like Obito watching his best friend kill his other best friend, and maybe after with all this other stuff going on, it makes sense that he would just be like, oh wow, yeah, everything sucks. And I don't know.
I get why he's pessimistic. I get why he's cynical.
Speaking about, you know, the swag factor thing, you know, that Itachi and Sasori have, and like you see the Sharingan, like he's so enigmatic and mysterious, and he feels so powerful, and like the fact that you believe that this is like Madara, who's been built up forever, like, man, he's so cool. I'll let you. I've rambled for so long. You can say some stuff about him.
No, yeah. This is he's kind of the character that inspired my channel icon, the Masked Man, and everything.
Yeah.
Obito, for me, from the very get-go, is again just, I don't want to restate everything you just said, but essentially my favorite scene in the entire series is when Obito murders all the Bloody Mist Ninja in a fit of rage. There's probably no more blood shed in the entire series than there is in that scene. And Obito, when he's holding Rin, he says, "I see now, this is hell." People need, like, I don't get how people miss this, but his entire ideology was being put into question by Madara. He works his ass off during God knows how long that time was when he was trapped in there, but with that giant boulder, and he escapes just to see the two people he was literally working for to see being like taken away from him. And so with everything that had already happened in his life, him being crushed in half and somehow surviving, like, Obito has, if not every right, like many other characters in the series, to be the absolute pessimist that he is. And so when he does everything that he does within the story, I don't think any of it is out of character for Obito.
This is a lot of blood, bro. Like, I was looking at the trees before in the other image, and this image right here, and there was a lot of blood, and it's dripping down, and it's all over the trees. That's a lot. But then, oh dang, what I do? Oh crap, I messed it up. Let me go back. It was like over here. Nope, it's not right there. Go back some. Right here.
So murders all the.
Like, looking at the next image of him just standing in the pool. Like, look how big these, hold on.
Money making season and being broke is treason.
Y'all gotta see this. Look how big these streams of blood is. Like, this is a lot. Like, all this dripping down. These aren't like little dots. These are big, gigantic streams of blood falling down. And then he's standing in this big pool of it. This is a lot of blood, bro.
If not every right, like many other characters in the series, to be the absolute pessimist that he is.
Look how much that is.
When he does everything that he does within the story, I don't think any of it is out of character for Obito at all. Even in the end when he's Jubito and Naruto like talk no jutsus him, whilst although I can understand his frustration with it, again, if anything, Naruto's the one character who could reach out to Obito.
I hate talk no jutsu
like
with a passion.
The Kakashi points this out too. When the Jubito fight is happening, like Obito is like really determined to break Naruto's spirit. Like part of why he is fighting is because like it bothers him that Naruto is still so hopeful and optimistic, because like it's implied that there's a little bit of self-doubt there, right? Like Obito, I don't even know if Obito realizes that he's like questioning his own philosophy at that point, but he has done so much that he like cannot be wrong, so he has to win this debate with Naruto, right? Like he has to prove to Naruto that he is correct. And you know, when it comes down to it and they get in that confrontation, you know, like after all this stuff that Obito's done, all of the horrific things that he's caused to happen, all of the turmoil that he's caused Naruto, not just by killing Minato and Kushina, but also by manipulating Sasuke and starting the 4th Great Ninja War and killing a bunch of Naruto's comrades. Like, for this kid to straight up like reach across the aisle and be like, no dude, seriously, straight up, it is okay, it's not too late, join our side.
No,
I don't know, like I feel like
I hear what he's trying to say, but they played that move too many times in Naruto. I hear what he's trying to say. I get it. I understand. But Talk no Jutsu has been played too many times at that point that I'm over it and I don't care. I just don't like it. I don't mess with Talk no Jutsu, bro. Like if this was like the first time it ever happened, it's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense. I'm with it and all that. But oh man, Pain and freaking Zabuza and like it's just too many talk no jutsu, bro. Like I can't, bro. I can't.
It is okay. It's not too late. Join our side. I don't know. Like I feel like like he probably saw like what I was describing that he saw in Rin in Naruto. There, he was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." I also think, by the way, the scene where so he summons the sword of Ninoboko and he's like, "This is literally like the strength of my will. You are not beating me now." Because like this is like ironclad, right? And you know he goes to clash with Naruto and Sasuke, and he's probably gonna kill them. And then at the last second, there he has second thoughts. He's like, "Well, what? This is what my life could have been. I could have been Hokage, maybe. You know, I could have been friends with Kakashi still." And like it's at that moment when his will to fight, like when his resolve weakens, that Naruto and Sasuke are able to beat him. I don't know, man. It's so cool. There's so much sick stuff about this character. So many.
He calls it cool. I call it trash.
Yeah, and then the way it ends with him sacrificing his life so Naruto could live on.
I mean, there's really no other way for them to have beaten him. Naruto and Sasuke to have beaten Jubito at that point, because he had the Rinnegan and he had like the 10 tails. Did he absorb the 10 tails? I don't think he absorbed the 10 tails yet. Madara absorbed the 10 tails, but he definitely had the Rinnegan. So there's like no other way to really beat him that we could see except talk no jutsu. But man, by the time you get to the war arc, bro, it's just, I was just so over talk no jutsu, bro. I can't. Like he's Swagkage is admiring the fact that he was able to switch, but I'm over here lightweight steaming at the fact that he switched, bro.
Yeah, and then the way it ends with him sacrificing his life so Naruto could live on. I just, again, literally outside of the stupid petty Rin thing, it's literally just a meme. Like there's nothing you could say bad about his character, nothing at all. Like it's just it mind boggles me. It really does. It really does.
I think there's some people that are salty because they really like Minato and Kushina. And don't get me wrong, I love me some. Neji too. Then don't get me wrong, I love me some Minato. He's my outro, as a matter of fact.
Right.
And it would have been really cool if Naruto would have gotten to know his parents. But like, I mean, Obito would like. That's really weird to like hold like an evil character doing evil things against them. And I know this is probably gonna sound like a non-point, right?
I don't hold that against them.
Right, you're preaching to the choir here. I've run into some people who are like, "No, I can't like Obito. He killed Minato, dude. It's stupid. That was his master, and he flipped it." Like, I don't know, man. Like whatever. And Obito also.
I don't hold that against him
too, with like the grudge thing, with like Minato didn't show up in time to save him. He didn't show up in time to save Rin from Kakashi. And, I don't blame Obito for having some, like, pent-up aggression, like, directed at this guy. And by the way, that fight, as short as it is so cool.
The Minato Obito one?
Yeah.
Are you talking one?
That was a good fight.
Like young Obito, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. People forget Obito was like 13. That's what's
he
mind blowing.
So young, right? And he fought Hiruzen and Minato and like the whole Leaf at the same time, right? like like the dude was packing on abilities. And I mean, like even when you're under the impression that he's not as strong as he actually is, like in the 5 Kage summit where he's just sort of letting Sasuke do all the legwork, like he's still really impressive. Like when he teleports into Anoki's death cube and saves Sasuke.
Yeah.
Like, man, I don't know what to tell people. If you don't like this character, you are lame. He's so sick.
I don't dislike him. I just dislike him turning good.
And despite how much I love Obito,
if he would have stayed evil, great, perfect character. This is the only thing I dislike about Obito is that he turned good. I like the Toby character. I like the Obito character. I like young Obito. He was really like one of my top favorite characters. It's just the turning good part. That's the only thing.
So I couldn't. For me, there's no antagonist that embodies their own philosophy to the point that they name their self after their own philosophy. And that's Pain. Yeah. Pain is without a doubt, for me, one of the best antagonists, period in anime and manga.
Yeah, I agree. I personally would put Obito above Pain, but I do think that Pain at number 1 might be correct, like speaking objectively, because I mean, man, like the second you see him, like the amount of presence he has, like just
Pain would be my number 3
alone. The
Itachi number 2, Obito number 1.
And like all the piercings, and you know, like you take a look at him and you're like, oh yeah, this is this is
the big boss. This is the guy.
This is if you want to split Naruto into 3 parts, right? Like part 1, and then you got the first half of Shippuden pre-war, and the war half of Shippuden. Pain is, I mean, like everybody knows this. But
Pain could have been
the
an
final boss of like that second part there. But
yeah.
The reason I'm saying this is because he really feels like it the moment you see
he could have been the end of the series for real.
You know, like a lot of people talk about how you know, how good the scene where Madara first shows up is, because he makes it very clear very quickly that he's no joke. You know, they're not gonna get rid of him like without a crazy fight. Like this dude is gonna make it hard to take him out. And the thing is, in order to do that, Madara has to like kill a whole platoon of ninja, but like Pain just like walks into frame, and you're like, oh my god.
right. Yeah, Pain gave one of the best presences ever. I love his backstory, and I always loved how, as an antagonist, he still felt like he was the protagonist. Which is part of the whole Cycle of Hatred speech. When you talk about iconic anime speeches, Cycle of Hatred is one of the very first I think anyone would think of. Most people would consider Pain Assault arc their strongest arc in Naruto, or at least one of the top ones. And just everything about Pain speaks to a top quality.
They off Kakashi.
I mean, he pulled up and vibe checked a whole village with one move. Like as soon as he did that, you knew what was up. And his ability to push Naruto to his breaking point was amazing. I thought that was one of the things where seeing him completely dominate Naruto, who had just trained so hard to get revenge on Jiraiya, you know, and then to find out Pain had a connection to Jiraiya before Naruto even knew. Like all of that was just so amazing into building up the tension between Pain and Naruto. And so I don't know how you could use anything to argue against Pain. It's just, for me, there's nothing wrong with him at all.
And like we were talking about why complexity lends, why the complexity of Obito and Itachi helps make them so good. And I mean, Pain's got layers and layers and layers of depth to him. Like the guy's a walking juxtaposition, right? Like you've got this dude walking around killing people, talking about peace. And like it's so
sound like the police
and cool and bizarre and like mind-boggling. You're like, dude, this doesn't make any sense, but like I get where he's coming from at the same time. Because I mean, like, so like when you talk about somebody like Data or Kisame having charisma, like it's just a neat character trait. But when you talk about like Nagato having charisma, you're saying he's charismatic enough to like turn people into revolutionaries and to get you to see his point of view and to get you to feel like he might be justified in murdering a bunch of people just to scare people so much that they stop fighting, right? And like when like you don't ever really see this sort of thing happen, like not in fiction in general, but I should say in like shonen or like fantasy stories that follow like the hero's journey type of like plot mold, where the main character's like, I'm gonna save the world, and the villain just goes like, oh, how? You don't see that very often. Right. But Naruto's like, no, I'm gonna bring about an age of peace, and Pain's just like, oh, I'm curious, how did you plan on doing that? And Naruto straight up doesn't have an answer. And like that moment is really powerful, and Naruto himself even realizes
he does check Naruto on that
black in there, that he was like,
he definitely got checked.
I'm proving his point
I didn't think
right
this
here,
through,
aren't I? Yeah, and for like by the time that Naruto walks into the hideout at the end,
but again, same thing with Obito. I can't do the talk no jutsu stuff, bro. Like it really brings down to me the value of the character, because he was so good up until that point. Naruto rushes over to Nagato's true body and talks no jutsu to him, bro. Like, oh my God. Like, I was watching that in high school. At that point, that's when I stopped watching Naruto. And then after like 2 years, I picked it back up and finished the world arc. But man, seeing him talk no jutsu Nagato legit made me stop watching Naruto for a while, bro. And then I picked it back up later, but bro, it's just talking no jutsu is so cheap, man. It's like you can't think of no other way than convincing people to change their ideology. Like, come on, bro. Like, that ain't the wave, bro. It's not the wave.
It's through, yeah.
Yeah, and you know, for like, by the time that Naruto walks into the hideout at the end, he gets where pain is coming from, you know, like at least in terms of like the pain and like hatred that he feels. Like, yeah. Naruto's like, I have never hated somebody the way that I hate you. And Pain's just like, yeah, exactly, you know, like, welcome to my life. Right. And you know, like, for like, he just has such a substantial effect on Naruto. And what's crazy about it is, unlike Obito and unlike Itachi, these characters who did things that were very formative to Naruto and Sasuke, Pain shows up like really late into the series and still manages to have this really tight connection with Naruto.
Right. They built his entire character, you know, because even though I would argue Obito is a much better parallel to Naruto, Pain and Nagato were just like, I wouldn't say just as good, but Pain and Nagato, Nagato, I should say, was also meant to be a parallel to Naruto in a sense, right? Child of Prophecy, student of Jiraiya. And so there's something that instantly connects with Pain. And again, I think it's through his entire message, right? Because like you said, he caught Naruto lacking, but then provided his own answer. And like I said, Cycle of Hatred, one of the best answers you could give. Like, how he just pulled up, massacred an entire village, told Naruto, all right, lay down, I'm gonna give you a lesson, and had the entire audience like, you know what, this motherfucker's spitting. Like, if he didn't just murder everybody we cared about. And so it's one of those things where he has this ability to communicate his philosophy in a way that demands attention. And if an antagonist is able to do that without sounding pretentious or really forced and trying to sound more deep than they are, I think that's a huge plus. And I think Pain does that in an amazing fashion. And then once that entire issue resolves and he realizes, okay, Naruto can do this, you know, and I was wrong, and Naruto's the protagonist of this story, not me, you know, and then he sacrifices his life to save the village. I know some people have an issue with it, but again, I think
I do.
It works for a resolution of Nagato's character.
He should have left everybody dead. Kakashi should have stayed dead. Everybody who died should have stayed dead. And then they should have rebuilt the village from there, going on with the story. Because if you bring everybody back, and it's like there's no impact. Like, all of that just happened for no reason because everybody came back. So there was no consequences. It was no impact. If they would have stayed dead, that would have been impact, bro. So I definitely got problems with it.
Thematically, it works for a resolution of Nagato's character.
Because he was trying to do the right thing is the thing, right? Like, this guy wasn't doing it for the sake of being evil. He wasn't a mustache twirler like Orochimaru, for example. Like, he really did think what he was doing was the right thing. And so when Naruto comes in there and just, you know, just full of conviction is like, dude, no, seriously, what you're doing is wrong. I hate you. I can't believe you do this to Pervy Sage and kill him. You know, he trusted you, blah, blah, blah. You know, and explains like, look, I don't have the answer right now, but I am going to find it. And what are you going to do about it? I beat you. And like, he's just like, man, like it makes sense. You know, the same way with Obito, like Naruto just connects with people, right? And I think, you know, if there was one guy who was going to change Nagato's mind, it was him. So, like, I do get the people were kind of mad that a lot of the major deaths were, like, Disney deaths and all the characters ended up coming back. But, again...
He called them Disney deaths.
If you took away the Rene rebirth thing, I don't know, maybe, you know, Pain would be a little bit better, I guess. But also, man, I don't know. I didn't want Kakashi to die. I was cool with him.
Right. Yeah. It's not like the case
I don't want Kakashi to die either.
Where my guy dies and Naruto becomes Jesus and brings him back. Like, no, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not what's happening.
That's trash too.
Like
yeah, it's just like
Naruto becoming Jesus in the war arc, nipple touching Guy and bringing him back, and then touching Kakashi's eye and bringing that back. That's trash too. But I don't want Kakashi to die in the Pain arc. But I'm saying if he did, it would have been way more impactful than bringing him back along with everybody else.
Jesus and brings him back. Like, no, that's not. Yeah, that's not what's happening here. Like, it's like
yeah, it's just like everybody likes Kakashi. Let him.
Yeah, exactly. He's needed, and also it's not like it came out of nowhere. I feel like the whole Rinnegan ability, being able to restore people, is one of the powers of the Rinnegan, so it ends up working out.
And I think a lot of people would probably consider Naruto versus Pain their favorite fight in the series, and there's a reason for that, not just because of the thematic, like ideological conflict between the characters, but also because the fight is really fucking cool.
Yeah. It is really good.
So, yeah, Pain's great. I don't mind putting him up here at number 1. I think a case could be made for Obito being the best. And if you really wanted, I guess you could also say Itachi's number 1. I think it's between Pain and Obito. Again, no. I don't mind.
Obito's number 1.
Here,
Itachi's number 2. Pain's number 3.
Like maybe he might be the objective number 1. It's really hard to say. But the point is, I definitely don't blame anybody for putting him at the top because he is great and he's like one of. I think the thing is, more than Obito, he's one of like the iconic anime manga villains. And again, that's not all Obito's fault. That's a lot of people who aren't Obito's fault. The people who read the series and didn't get who he was. But regardless, the fact still remains that I think people remember Pain. More people remember Pain really fondly and see him as like representative of a lot of the good in Naruto. So I think like I said, there's definitely a case to be made for him being number 1 here.
But yeah, we went on for a bit. We had a lot to say about these guys.
Long video.
Pre-edited. This is a little bit over an hour. I don't know if any of this is going to be cut, but thanks for having me on.
Hey, man.
I like talking about Naruto. I do it for a living, so this was fun.
Hey, man, anytime. For me, this is a big honor, and I know some of my homies are going to be doing backflips seeing this. So, yeah, man, great to have you aboard. As always, I'm going to be leaving the link to Swagkage's channel down in the description below. And if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the
Yeah, man. So, like you said, that was the first ever video I saw of the Masked Man. He did a pretty good job, bro. Let's see if he got any other interesting videos. He got some Attack on Titan. Death Note has the best start in anime. Death Note. Attack on Titan has a really, really good start. Like, really good start. But Death Note is really good too. But I might I'll have to put Attack on Titan. But it's between them two. Like, Death Note and Attack on Titan is definitely got the best start to anime. What else he got on here? He got the return of Bleach featuring Clyde. Oh, Clyde's a pretty big YouTuber. What else he got on here that I would care about? What will happen with Berserk? I just finished Berserk like in October. RP to the author, whatever. I was wrong about Naruto. Why we love angry characters. I don't really see nothing else that sticks out to me that I would want to react to on here. But I like this video. So yeah, y'all. That was Masked Man ranking the Akatsuki featuring Swagkage. If you like this video, leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out.